Ladies, gents, good morning. Good morning from Europe. Piotr here, the Slide Forex Global YouTube channel. April 6th. We are about like 8 a.m. CET, so pre-London, but we are going to continue. If you remember yesterday, we spoke about the three majors, euro, dollar, cable, dollar yen. When it comes to the bigger picture for Q2, something similar we are going to discuss today. This time, few yen crosses. Let's start with EURJPY. So basically that's the monthly chart, and to be honest with you, when you are going to look closely, right, nothing extraordinary during the first quarter happened. Basically with huge risk off on the when it comes to the stocks indices. I've been thinking that we, for quite some time, that we should be much lower. It didn't materialize, to be honest with you, so it's showing that the upcoming quarter, so April, May, June, that's gonna be some kind of the range trading, right? For as long as we are not gonna to make the break. So in that case, when we are talking about the range, it's going to be like the yearly open, so levels close to 1 second guys, I'm sorry, let me make it a little, yeah, so it's going to be yearly open here, and we are talking about the levels around 121.90 and the yearly high, and we are talking about the 122.87. So to the upside, let's call it something around 120, 123, and to the downside, the March high wave. So in that case, we are talking about the levels close to 116. So as you can see, it's just the 700 pips range. It's not that big for the when trying to compare to the fireworks we've seen on the indices. So in that case, I would say from the long-term perspective, as of now, buy low, sell high, but my bias is a bit towards the downside, but you know, it's not confirmed because we haven't seen the breakdown, right? So that's the most important thing. So trying to navigate, trying to look what is going on from the a little bit lower time frame perspective. I think near term we got the chance to see stop count below latest low, right? So that's why I've mentioned that my bias a little bit to the downside, and in that case we are going to try to retest this low around 115 first, and eventually if that's going to materialize, if that's going to happen, move below will open the way towards 110 when it comes to the downside targets. All right, because there are two good possible liquidity pools. When it comes to the upside here on the weekly, that's no change in view. We have the levels related to the yearly high, yearly open, and if we are going to manage to break through and close above, that's probably we are going to double that range, meaning that we are going to try to trade towards 130. Right? So that's how I see the things. For now. it's a challenge to trade EURJPY these days. Let's have a look what we have on the pound yen. Here I'm overall, as you know, I'm negative towards the pound, but the late March rally, right, surprised me a bit. But anyway, we have very similar situation to what we discussed with the cable, but here we haven't hit the stops below 122.60. Right, we haven't hit that stops yet. As you can see, we managed to close above, and for now, because of combination a little bit weaker pound and quite constant dollar yen, it's different than what we have on the cable at the beginning of the month, right? Because here we are around the monthly open. On the cable we are, well, much lower, but because of the dollar yen higher, a little bit of the stabilization. So I think for now, because the spikes higher cannot be ruled out, in that case that's what we need to close above. All right, so the levels close to 150, 160 long term, guys, that's the monthly chart, 150, 160, and to the downside 120. Right, so let's have a look what we have on the weekly chart. All right, looks like on the weekly chart a little bit similar situation to what we discussed with the EURJPY, right? So even I'm bearish here, it looks like may take a little bit longer, because what we have here, it's some kind of the attempt to trading the range, right? So we had some upsides, failure at the top, we have some nice downsides, failure at the bottom, right? And I'm very interested how it's going to play out this time, because it might be based on what we have here and here, retest of 130, right? If that's going to hold, even I'm bearish, I see on the weekly chart that there is a possibility that if we are going to hold 130, some higher levels might be in place, and the half of that consolidation might be tested, meaning that we might retest, we might see again 140. So for now, talking about the bigger picture here, we are in a very interesting situation around 130 because it's very close. So monitoring that level, I think it's going to be worth a few pips, especially if we are going to have a test with this over under, and if it's going to hold, then a little bit of the rally might be in place. And finally, Canadian dollar with the Japanese yen, right? We are below 80. That's quite a significant development here. Because we broke 80 and closed below based on the quarter, based on the monthly close, right? It happened on March. Now, I'm not sure if we are going to hit 70, but that's significant level, as you can see, to the downside. And I'm bearish here as well, right? So overall, I'm still a little bit positive towards the yen. Even we haven't seen the reaction we were supposed to see, right? That the yen is coming back home, so meaning we see huge strength. it was very quick move to the downside on the dollar yen with the very quick rebuild, right? Recovery. So what is going on? We hit few liquidity pools, and I think that's the last one, and that's what market may look for ahead of the 70. All right, as you can see, so we are talking about the 73.50, 73.40. All right, to be broken, and that will lead to 70. If you think about the possible longs, probably based on this bigger picture, probably no earlier than around 70. Let's have a look what we have on the weekly chart, and it looks like the break of 80 was the crucial here, right? So okay, the first wave of the negative information's gone, right? So market is trying to rebuild. Oil was trying to rebuild, right? Huge uncertainty when it comes to the OPEC. So the latest rally is a helping hand for the Canadian dollar, right? We are at 77, so 77.20. I wonder if we are going to get retest of 80, but that would be great, right? And any kind of the failure and another wave of the sell-off on equities could bring us towards 70 when it comes to the Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. So trying to summarize, overall, I'm quite surprised where we are on the dollar yen, and that's helping hand for those three crosses we discussed today. Possible 700 range on the EURJPY. There is a chance to the downside on the pound yen, but as we discussed from the weekly perspective, still 130, 140. So I would wait rather for the rally to try to fade the rally. Very similar situation in the Canadian yen. Retest of 80, failure there might open 70 if we are going to see second wave of the equity sell-off. Guys, it was my pleasure to make this type of the update. I'm going to get back to you with intraday analysis a little bit later today. Take care and goodbye.